Rich here, and welcome back to the channel, my fellow drifter maniacs. In today's video I'm going to be showing you the easy way as to how to program your Arrma Felony ESC. And if you've got an Arrma Felony and you're not considered programming the ESC yet, I'm going to explain a lot of the features the ESC has and why you should be definitely programming the ESC on your Arrma Felony. Anyway, getting straight down to it, there are two ways to program your Arrma Felony ESC. One is to use the manual, which guides you through step by step the free way to programming your ESC. Using the manual is the hard way to do it, and I can do a video demonstrating exactly how to set it up using the instructions given in the manual. So if you want me to do that, have your say in the comment section below the video and I'll shoot a video on that. But the easy way is to buy the Spectrum programming card. I'll put a link to this below the video. I would suggest if you've got an Arrma Felony or an Arrma Infraction V2, this should be your very first purchase for the car. As you'll see in just a second, this is probably one of the most useful gadgets you can have out there. Anyway, let me get this out of the box, the camera down, and get to work on programming the Arrma Felony ESC. But if you like what you see today, then don't forget to subscribe. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, well, removing the Spectrum Smart ESC programmer from its box, we have got select, edit, reset and save. Those will become apparent when I power the thing up. It has also got on the end a very handy LiPo battery checker on it, which will check up to 8S batteries, which is really good. As many standard ones like this high-tech LiPo checker only check up to 6S, so that 8S checking ability is a bonus to my mind. Now moving around to the other end, we've got a USB port, ESC port and a battery port on there. The one we are concerned with is plugging the lead it came with, which is this lead, the ESC lead in here. The USB lead you can use to plug the device into your computer and update the software on it. Now if anybody's thinking they've already got a programming card that looks like this, I would point out this one is Spectrum specific. I've got one and it looks identical to this, tried it originally, doesn't work at all, so you definitely need the Spectrum one from the outset, but it's a pretty good investment as you're about to see. Okay, now here is one of the really neat features about the Spectrum ESC programmer. Typically you would plug one of these in to the lead that goes from the ESC to the receiver. However, on this one all you need to do is remove this fan wire. Do not think though you're just going to plug this lead into this fan extension here. You're going to remove the fan wire entirely from the base there, paying careful attention to polarity. We've got negative on the left, positive in the center. You then, he says, virtually impossibly, going to keep my hands out of the way, you're then going to plug this lead connected to the programmer into the port on the side of the ESC there. So that is the programming card installed. As I say, you need to remove this wire entirely. Do not be tempted to remove the fan wire and plug the lead into there, because there's only two wires coming back to this 3-wire port on there. Anyway, let's power the thing up. Now at this stage you don't need the transmitter on, which you do need if you're programming it the manual way. Connecting to the ESC tells us our latest software version, and straight away it's pulled up option 1, running mode. You will see the little asterisk next to the number 2. Forwards reverse brake is what it's set on. That correlates to variable 1, item 2 on the programming card. To move on down, press select. We get to motor rotation. You will see it highlighted the asterisk 2 next to it. Now I've actually already been playing around with this, and it's a stock, it's set on CCW, but I've got it set on CW in order to my rotor is going the right way round. Now here is where it gets interesting. Interesting programming ESC, Rich. Option 3 is LiPo cells. Okay. No. Option 3 for the 160 amp programming mode should be LiPo cells auto-calculating 3S, 5S, 6S, 8S. But it isn't. On the programming card, number 3 is cutoff voltage. So, while you might think, why is that so important, Rich? Couldn't care less about that. Well, a LiPo cutoff voltage should be number 4 on this card, but it's not. It's number 3. So that means when you're thinking you're programming the BEC voltage manually, you're not. You're programming in the LVC cutoff, because everything on this list has shifted up by 1. So, to my mind, Horizon Spectrum, this needs addressing, because the programming card clearly highlights that the LiPo cells have been removed from the manual. So basically everything shifts up 1. So while you think you're programming, say, maximum brake force, you're not. You're programming maximum reverse force. So you could think you've shifted the brakes to 100%. You've not. you've shifted maximum reverse to 50%. That needs addressing, and that is the reason why I do videos like this. Now I've got my cutoff voltage set on there. Let's move on. BEC voltage, I've set that to 8.4. If you want to put it back to normal, you simply press edit, get it down to 6, and then you would press save. Saving data, okay, but I want it set on 8.4 because I've got a nice high voltage, high speed servo on there. So I'm going to press edit, get that back to 8.4, press save again. Very, very simple indeed to use. So moving on to variable number 5, maximum brake force, 100% on there. You can edit that from 25%, 37.5%, 50%, 62.5%, 75%, which is set on by, I think it's set on 50 as default on there. Of note, the stock 150 amp ESC only has a maximum, has the brake on 50% on there. So it's definitely something you want to up, because you want that set on 100%. Why is that, Richie? Well, you can vary it up and down on the transmitter. So why would you not want, when it's turned up to the max, 100% of 100%? You don't want 100% of 75% if that makes a difference on there. If the brakes are too strong, you can dial them back on the transmitter. But for goodness sake, set the brakes to 100% on the ESC. So dial it again. On our manual, number 5 is actually BEC voltage, but it's not, because LiPo cells isn't there on the, because LiPo cells is missing on the programming card. So number 6, you're going to be thinking maximum brake force. It's actually maximum reverse. But if you were doing this the manual way, you wouldn't have that visibility. So you would be thinking you were setting the maximum brake force to 100%. You'd actually be setting the maximum reverse force to 50%, which is just plain crazy. So I've got it on the lowest setting on there. The punch level or start mode is 1 to 9 on the 150 amp ESC. There's only 5 punch levels on here, but once again, see number 8 punch level. This is variable number 7. If you want to edit that, I might dial it down a bit actually, because it's set on stop as 3, which is more than enough for it to leave the line like an absolute rocket and still drift around if you want. So I'm going to save that on there. Number 4 will light those rear tyres up in the blink of an eye. So moving on through. Lastly, number 8, timing. But once again, that's number 9 in the manual. Now I've got that set on 0 degrees. I believe you're getting more out of the motor if you increase that, but by default for the 160 amp ESC it's set on 0, so I've left that as it is. So you can now see that is the easy way to program your Arrma Felony ESC. Now lastly, whatever you do, ensure that fan lead is plugged back in. It will cost you big time, because this motor will run warm under full throttle and it will draw more current, which is in turn going to cause the ESC thermal shutdown to come in. So whatever you do when you're done programming the ESC with your Spectrum Smart ESC programmer, plug that fan lead back in. So there we have it. As I said at the start, 2 ways to program your Arrma Felony ESC. One is the harder way, but free, using the manual. And if anybody wants me to do a video as to exactly how to program an ESC manually, then I will post it in the comment section below the video, and I will do a video on that. Or the easy way, which is using the Spectrum Smart ESC programming card. Probably about the best 25 bucks I've spent in some considerable time, as it makes programming the new Smart Spectrum ESCs on the new latest version 4 and 5 Arrmas an absolute doddle, as hopefully I've shown in this video. The one thing I would say, if you get a new felony or an Arrma infraction, make sure you put that braking level up to 100% straight away before you do the very first run of the car, because if that 100% is too much, you can dial it down on the transmitter. But what you want is set on 100% on the transmitter, 75 on the car. Doesn't make sense. Also, do pay attention if you are programming the car manually, because that variable missing the auto LiPo cell calculation on there means that every variable below that isn't the one you think you're programming. Sorry Spectrum, Horizon, that needs to change. I've very clearly demonstrated it is an issue in this video, and it's a fundamental one, because somebody could be thinking they're programming the brake level to full. They're actually programming reverse to 50%. Anybody out there agree? I'm sorry, that just ain't right. But I am loving the car to bits, particularly now I've got the ESC programmed correctly. Anyway, as ever, if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video, and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.